Part 23. Dantian has a little field. Author, The Magic Orb Zoo. Chapter 221. Bang. The Black Devil's palm slapped Lin Su heavily, and a muffled groan came. Along with the spread of spiritual power, Lin Su's breath disappeared. Ha ha ha. Dead. Finally dead. If you dare to fight with me, this will be the fate. Elves, if you dare to cause trouble to me, when I recover, I will completely exterminate your elves. Seeing Lin Su being beaten to pieces, the Dark Lord's demon laughed heartily. In his opinion, Lin Su was dead, and no one could threaten him anymore. When he regained his strength and condensed his body, if you break the seal, you must destroy the entire elven race and leave no chickens or dogs behind. You have no chance. Xianxia. Suddenly, a cold voice sounded behind the Dark Lord's demon spirit, and at the same time, an extremely terrifying power suddenly burst out. As soon as the demon spirit's expression changed drastically, and he turned his head, an invisible energy force hit him on the head. On the forehead. No, this is impossible. No. It was Lin Su's Xianxia finger force that hit the forehead of the Dark Lord's demonic spirit with his original power. The terrifying destructive power began to erupt after a breath. As he shouted, his whole body began to quickly turn into dust from the center of his forehead, turning into traces of black energy. The power of life, purify. With a low cry, Lin Su shot out several green lights from his hands to form a large green net, which shrouded the remaining dark demonic energy after crushing the Dark Lord demon spirit and began to purify it. Originally, Lin Su wanted to inhale these dark demonic energies into his body, but he was worried that the demonic spirit of the Dark Lord had not been completely eliminated, so it was safer to purify it. Ah! Why? Why didn't you die? This is impossible. I am invincible. I will not die, no. Just as Lin Su feared, the demon spirit of the Dark Lord was not dead, but its figure was scattered by Lin Su's Xianxia finger. As the dark demon energy was continuously purified by the power of life, the demon spirit became miserable. The miserable howl came from the dark demonic energy, and gradually the sound became smaller and smaller. As the last trace of dark demonic energy was purified, it fell into silence. It's finally over. Retracting the green light net, Lin Su exhaled heavily, with a look of exhaustion on his face. The demonic spirit of the Dark Lord just now was indeed so powerful that Lin Su had no chance of winning in a head-on fight. He could only use Xianxia blood escape to dodge the attack just when the great demon transformation palm was about to hit him. At the same time, he restrained his aura, causing the Dark Lord's demon spirit to mistakenly think that he had been beaten to death, and he was unprepared. The demon spirit of the Dark Lord never dreamed that someone could hide his own aura perfectly. He had never seen an immortal cultivator, so he was naturally not familiar with such methods, so he made a fatal mistake, allowing Lin Su to seize the opportunity. One blow of Xianxia finger shattered the figure. Originally, if the demon spirit was given some time, he could still regroup his body, but Lin Su did not give him such a chance and directly used the power of life to purify and completely eliminate it. However, Lin Su was not having an easy time. He activated Xianxia blood escape and Xianxia finger one after another, which completely consumed half of the original power of the nascent soul clone. Lin Su's nascent soul clone was now very weak. I can't keep my figure anymore. Not daring to delay, Lin Su turned into a stream of light and flew out of the core space, flying towards the outside of the heart. The power of the world tree is recovering. I sense that the power of the world tree has begun to recover. Lord God Envoy, have you already? Outside the heart of the world tree, a flash of spirit suddenly flashed in the eyes of the high priest Maya. Mang raised his head and looked at Lin Su in surprise. A golden green light rushed out from the heart of the world tree. It was Lin Su's nascent soul clone and sank into Lin Su's body. The demon spirit has been purified. Lin Su opened his eyes, A look of exhaustion flashed across his face. The nascent soul clone had lost almost half of its original power. After returning to the original body, Lin Su naturally felt a sense of exhaustion. It was estimated that it would take at least half a month to recover. Recover? Really purified? So the crisis is resolved and the world tree is saved. The high priest Maya was surprised with a look of disbelief. Thousands of years of wishes came true at this moment, giving her a dream-like and unreal feeling. Maya, I have consumed too much and need to retreat for a while. Don't let anyone disturb me for half a month. Lin Su nodded, left a word, and his figure turned into a stream of light and shot towards the light door in the distance. It's really solved. The demon spirits have been eliminated and the elves have been saved. It's great. Happiness came so quickly that Maya, the always calm high priest, could not control her mood. By the time she calmed down and wanted to thank Lin Su had already left for a long time. I want to call my clan members back quickly to celebrate. Maya suddenly remembered the elves who had been transferred out of the world tree by her. She had never told them the reason before, but now she could finally tell them. Without further delay, she also flew towards the light gate. After Lin Su returned to his residence in the castle, he immediately released Ye Ping'er and Leng Lingyu, together with the dragon and tiger beast, from the spirit field space. Hearing that Lin Su had killed the Dark Lord's demon spirit, Ye Ping'er and her two daughters breathed a long sigh of relief. Finally, they no longer had to worry. The dragon tiger beast kept rubbing against Lin Su's thighs and congratulating Lin Su. The divine bath in the fountain of life completely awakened the blood of the sky's divine beast. After these days of closed-door cultivation in the spiritual field space, the dragon tiger beast officially advanced to become a divine beast. However, unlike its ancestor, the dragon tiger beast that was promoted to a divine beast had a pair of wings composed entirely of purple lightning on its back. Apart from that, its appearance did not change much. The appearance did not change much, but the dragon tiger beast's strength had greatly improved. Not only did its cultivation level rise directly to the late stage of the nascent soul, but it also had better control over flames and lightning. The most important thing was that it could now fuse purple lightning and flames together, which was extremely powerful. It not only had the powerful destructive power and paralysis ability of purple lightning, but also had the characteristics of immortal fire. Even without the activation of true essence, it could burn for a long time on its own. Lin Su named it Immortal Thunder and Fire. The dragon tiger beast was promoted to a divine beast, but it was nothing like its ancestor, the Yeu. It seemed to have mutated, and it was even more powerful than the legendary Yeu. Lin Su was quite surprised, and secretly thought that he had a good vision. He had two younger brothers who were both divine beasts. This was also a very face-saving thing, wasn't it? In order to recover the loss from fighting the Dark Lord's demon spirit, Lin Su practiced his skills and meditated in the house for half a month. The dragon tiger beast guarded outside the door to prevent anyone from disturbing him. As for Ye Ping'er and Leng Lingyu, they became Lin Su's representatives and participated in the grand celebration of the elves. During this period, the high priest Maya also wanted to invite Lin Su to participate, but Ye Ping'er and Leng Lingyu declined. The original power of the nascent soul had been damaged and had to be restored quietly. It could not be disturbed in the middle, otherwise it would probably leave trouble. The two women were also immortal cultivators, and they knew this kind of thing very well. Naturally, they would not let anyone disturb Lin Su for such a small matter as the celebration. Because of the refusal of Ye Ping'er and Leng Lingyu, the high priest Maya felt a little regretful, but she did not insist. However, the elves who knew the truth were full of admiration and gratitude for Lin Su. Several young elves ignored the advice and secretly invited Lin Su to participate in the celebration. As a result, they were severely taught a lesson by the dragon and tiger beasts guarding the door without exception, and no one dared to do it again. Half a month later, Lin Su, who had recovered his vitality, walked out of the room. The high priest Maya, who learned the news, and the leaders of various races in Tianji continent came together. As soon as they met, they knelt down to worship Lin Su. "What are you doing? Get up quickly." Lin Su was very surprised. Why did the leaders of other races come too? Husband, the news that the high priest had destroyed the demon spirit of the Dark Demon King spread throughout the Tianling continent. The leaders of various races came to express their gratitude to you. Ye Ping'er and Leng Lingyu walked in front of Lin Su, and Leng Lingyu whispered. The fact that the Dark Lord's demon spirit is in the heart of the world tree is a secret of the Tianji continent, but it has been passed down from generation to generation among the leaders of various tribes. Now that the demon spirit has been destroyed and the crisis has been completely resolved, the high priest Maya will naturally inform the leaders of various tribes of the situation. Compared with Lin Su's previous work of repairing the barrier of the land of death, this time the killing of the demon spirit is more significant. After hearing the news, the leaders of various tribes were ecstatic and all rushed to the elf territory to express their gratitude to Lin Su in person. However, Lin Su has been practicing in the room to heal his injuries, so the leaders of various tribes can only stay in the elf tribe temporarily. Now that Lin Su has come out of retreat, everyone came together. Lin Su is not used to the scene of others being grateful to him, but he can't refuse the gratitude of various tribes. He can only bear to deal with the leaders of various tribes, and his face is almost stiff with laughter. However, it was not without benefits. The leaders of each tribe brought treasures of their tribe as thank you gifts, many of which were rare natural treasures mentioned in soul fire alchemy and soul fire weapon refining. For these thank you gifts, Lin Su accepted them all without hesitation. Maybe he could use them someday, right? It seems that there are quite a lot of good things from each tribe. Why didn't they bring these good things when the Snake tribe held a celebration last time? After accepting the thank you gifts from each tribe, Lin Su saw that there was nothing to take, so he found an opportunity to sneak back to the castle on the pretext that his injury was not completely stable. Of course, he did not forget to take some delicacies to satisfy the cravings of Tyrant Bear King and Earth Spirit Pig. Sitting in the room, Lin Su lightly tapped the thank you gifts from each tribe while praising them. It was less than 10 days before the heavenly spirit realm would leave the human realm. At that time, he would be excluded from the heavenly spirit realm. Otherwise, he really had to go around the tribes to search for more good things. Dantian has a little field. Author, The Magic Orb Zoo. Chapter 222. 9 days later, Lin Su took Ye Ping'er and Leng Lingyu, including the dragon and tiger beast, into the spirit field space. The time limit for leaving was coming soon. When Lin Su entered the heavenly spirit world, he suffered a strong space tear. With such power, if it were not for the protection of the Tianling token, he would not be able to safely enter the Tianling realm. He could not guarantee that he would not encounter the same thing when he left. Lin Su's strength has been greatly improved now. Even without the Tianling token, he is confident that he can withstand the force of space pulling, but Ye Ping'er and Leng Lingyu may not be able to withstand it. For safety reasons, it is safest to put the two women into the spirit field space. As for the dragon and tiger beast, although it can withstand the force of the space, Lin Su doesn't know if they will be separated when they are excluded from the heavenly spirit world, so they are kept together. It was collected into the spirit field space. In the early morning of the 10th day, just as Lin Su had estimated, the Tianling realm began to separate from the human world, and the entire Tianling continent felt a slight vibration. Lin Su stood on a high platform in the center of the square on the first floor of the world tree. Surrounded by elves, besides the elves were the heads of various races in the Tianling continent. Everyone knows that Lin Su comes from the human world. Now that the celestial spirit realm is leaving the human world and entering the void again, Lin Su, an outsider, will be excluded by the power of the laws of the celestial spirit realm. They are all here to help Lin Su. Farewell. Lord God Envoy, You are welcome to come to the elf tribe as a guest next time when the heavenly spirit realm rewards you. Master God Envoy, the snake people will always be your most loyal friends. Master Divine Envoy, if you come to the heavenly spirit world next time, you must come to our Turin Thunder Bluff. Our Kodo milk tea and chowder teppanyaki are very famous. The heads of various races sent invitations to Lin Su, asking him to be a guest in their respective race territories next time he came to the Tianling world. Faced with these kind invitations, Lin Su smiled and nodded. Just a trip to the territory of the elves allowed his nascent soul to completely merge with the natal Qinglian left by the Master of Life. Then the territories of other races should also have their own unique features, right? If it weren't for the lack of time, he would definitely go and see them all. Now he can only leave this regret until he comes to the heavenly spirit world again in 500 years. Everyone, see you in 500 years. The familiar pulling feeling of space came to him. Lin Su knew that it was time to leave. He waved to the elves and leaders of various clans under the high platform. Lin Su could not resist the repulsive force of the heavenly spirit world, and disappeared in a flash. Moved out of the heavenly spirit realm. Hey, where is this place? Why is there an abandoned teleportation circle? When the clarity returned to his eyes, Lin Su found himself in a ruins. In front of him was a huge high platform. There seemed to be a teleportation circle on the high platform, but it could be seen that it had been abandoned for a long time. Looking up, Lin Su found that the ruins were covered by a translucent light blue barrier, with a radius of about 10 miles. The ruins looked like a city, but now apart from the high platform, there were no other buildings. Less than any complete building. Outside the light blue barrier, you can occasionally see one or two strange-shaped swimming fish. This place is actually on the seabed like Yama City. This is actually within the waters of the Demon Sea. In order to confirm whether he was in the Chaos Star Sea, Lin Su took out the map and suddenly found that he was in the center of the Demon Sea. Fortunately, he followed the fire dragon to the Demon Sea and recorded the map of the Demon Sea. Otherwise, if you don't, you won't be able to tell where you are at all. It's strange. The world of monsters is dominated by monsters in the Sea of Monsters, but I haven't heard that monsters can also build cities and live in groups. Lin Su found it very strange. In the Sea of Monsters, apart from monsters, there are monsters. Of course, the so-called monsters refer to plants that have become spirits that cannot be named. They are not demons like the dark monsters. Monsters are all alone. In the past, they would not have built cities to live together like human monks, let alone go to great lengths to set up barriers and build cities under the sea. So where did this abandoned city come from? Looking at the degree of abandonment of the city, I am afraid it has been abandoned for thousands of years, maybe even longer. After such a long time, the barrier has not disappeared and is still protecting the city from being submerged by the sea. This is quite incredible. You must know that here is not like Yama City where there are people who specialize in taking care of the barrier and add spiritual stones from time to maintain the energy of the barrier. Lin Su can be sure that there is no living thing except him in this abandoned city, let alone someone to maintain the barrier. There is only one possibility. This barrier is not maintained by manpower filling energy, but by borrowing the power of nature. Simply put, it relies on the natural barrier to change it, and can automatically absorb the surrounding energy to maintain the barrier. Those who can do this must be at the pinnacle of formation attainments. There is no way such a person can appear among monsters. This abandoned city must have been left by ancient monks, at least before the spirit world separated from the human world. It was built. The immortal realm and the sea of chaotic stars were formed after the spiritual world separated from the human world, while the sea of demons was formed together with the sea of chaos stars, so Lin Su's guess was reasonable. Lin Su carefully searched the ruins of the entire city and found nothing useful. Finally, he turned his attention to the teleportation circle on the high platform. The entire city has been turned into ruins. Only the high platform and the teleportation circle on the high platform are still intact, which shows that the high platform and the teleportation circle are unusual. Lin Su became interested and walked carefully toward the platform. He did not encounter any unexpected situations and soon arrived in front of the teleportation array. This teleportation array is circular, with a diameter of about 10 feet. There are 6 slots in total, which should be used to place spirit stones. If the 6 slots are connected, it should be a hexagram pattern. The structure of this teleportation array gave Lin Su a sense of déjà vu, and he always felt that he seemed to have seen a similar teleportation array somewhere. After frowning and thinking for a long time, Lin Su's eyes suddenly lit up. He remembered that he had seen a similar teleportation array in the Tianli's secret realm of the Savage Ancient Domain, but that teleportation array had 8 slots and required 8 high-quality spirit stones to open. The teleportation array in front of him was very similar to the teleportation array in the Tianli's secret realm in terms of construction materials and techniques. Could it be that this teleportation array can also lead to a secret realm? When he thought of this, Lin Su couldn't help but get excited. In the eyes of immortal cultivators, secret realms mean immortal fate and treasures. Take Lin Su for example. He got the 5 elements spirit bamboo in the Tianli's secret realm. After coming to the Chaos Star Sea, he got the stone, condensed essence stone, prayer star staff and even the magical fruit in the god and demon secret realm. If this teleportation array really leads to a secret realm, Lin Su would like to try it out. After all, no one would complain about too many treasures, right? Smashing his lips, Lin Su took out 6 high-grade spirit stones and inserted them into the slots. Strangely, the teleportation array only flashed a burst of light and then returned to calm, and there was no reaction. The 6 high-grade spirit stones that Lin Su put into it turned into 6 piles of powder, and the spiritual power in them had been completely exhausted. Hiss. Lin Su took a breath of cold air, and was in doubt. Where did this teleportation array lead to? It couldn't even activate the high-grade spirit stones. Generally speaking, the longer the distance of transmission, the more energy is needed, especially when transmitting across different time and space. If the level of the spirit stone is not enough, the result will be like this. However, even the upper-grade spirit stone is not enough to activate the transmission array, so does it have to use the best spirit stone? But as far as Lin Su knows, the energy contained in the best spirit stone is extremely huge, and ordinary transmission arrays can't bear it at all, unless... Lin Su's eyes suddenly lit up, and he thought of a possibility that surprised him: ultra-long-distance transmission array. That's right, it's a super long-distance transmission array. In addition to this, Lin Su really can't think of any other explanation. Perhaps this is the super long-distance transmission array leading to the world of cultivation. When thinking of this possibility, Lin Su's breathing became rapid. If the guess is true, then he can return to the world of cultivation. So it's here, no wonder we can't find it. The Yama Palace has been mobilizing all its forces to search for the ultra-long-distance teleportation array leading to the world of immortal cultivation over the years, but to no avail. Who would have thought that this ultra-long-distance teleportation array would be in the underwater ruins in the center of the Demon Sea? Although the best spiritual stones are rare, Lin Su has collected some over the years. Although there are only dozens of them, it is more than enough to activate this ultra-long-distance teleportation array. But Lin Su can't activate the teleportation array now because he has some unfinished business in the Chaos Star Sea. Lin Su promised Yewuji and Yan Luo Tianzi that he would pass on the position of the Lord of the Yama Palace and the Lord of the Spirit Beast Island. He must fulfill his promise, otherwise the 2 major forces may fall into civil strife for power. Although it looks like this ultra-long-distance teleportation array is well preserved, who knows how many times it can be used? What if there is only one chance left? Resisting the urge to test the long-distance teleportation array right now, Lin Su took a deep breath, and moved his eyes away from the teleportation array with difficulty. After recording the address here on the map, he turned into a stream of light and rushed out of the barrier, rushing towards the sea. Lin Su didn't want to waste any time now. He just wanted to return to the Yama Palace and the Spirit Beast Island as soon as possible to fulfill his promise to Yewuji and King Yanluo, and then hurried back here to activate the long-distance teleportation array. Boom! The sea surface suddenly exploded, and a golden-green stream of light rushed out of the sea and flew rapidly towards the horizon. Lin Su burst out all his momentum, and the momentum and pressure comparable to the late Yuanying Great Perfection made the entire Demon Sea area sensational. Thanks to the viewer Red God for voting for 2 monthly tickets. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Dantian has a little field. Author, The Magic Orb Zoo. Chapter 223. Roar. Ouch. Although Lin Su showed a super strong aura, it was only able to frighten those low-strength monsters. The monsters in the sea of monsters with cultivation levels above the nascent soul stage seemed to be half enraged, and they all looked up to the sky and roared. Came out. Oops. I was careless. Lin Su slapped his forehead. He just wanted to use his tyrannical cultivation to frighten the demons in the Demon Sea, lest they come to stop him and cause trouble for him. Unexpectedly, it backfired. The main reason was that Lin Su forgot about the demon beasts and human immortal cultivators. The relationship between them, especially in the sea of monsters, these monsters are all unruly existences, how can they be submissive to a human being? The main reason why the Sea of Demons is called a forbidden land for humans. Even Emperor Yama and Yewuji rarely set foot in it is because there are too many high-level demons in it, and each of them has a strong influence on human immortal cultivators. Hostility, no matter how strong you are, if you are attacked by a group, you will only be defeated. After understanding the reason, Lin Su hurriedly restored his true form as a dragon. Although his nascent soul had evolved into a real dragon in its dragon form, his physical body still hadn't passed the stage of transforming into a dragon, but it wasn't much different. As soon as the dragon's power came out, the monster beasts that were ready to move and roar suddenly became mute, and each one of them fell into hibernation again. The bloodline level among the monster beasts is strict, and the dragon clan is the real superior. In addition, Shang Lin Su's aura was comparable to that of the late nascent soul, and all the monsters who were still unconvinced became quiet. Attack the dragon clan? No kidding. Who doesn't know that the dragon clan always protects its shortcomings and will retaliate for its enemies? Not to mention that these monsters dare not take action against Lin Su under the pressure of the bloodline. Even if the pressure of the bloodline is not taken into consideration, they still have to be afraid of the dragon clan's revenge. For a moment, the entire sea became quiet again, and Lin Su also restrained his momentum a little. Anyway, he was now in the form of a dragon. The monsters in this demonic sea would never dare to provoke him, and there was no need to release his momentum to intimidate him. Ang! Lin Su was flying towards the outer edge of the demonic sea. Suddenly, a thunderous dragon roar sounded, and then a line of fire shot into the sky from the sea in front of Lin Su, and then a fiery red dragon as big as a small hill shot into the sky to block him. In front of Lin Su. Senior Fire Dragon. Lin Su recognized it at a glance. This was the fire dragon that had brought him into the Demon Sea. No, it was now a fire dragon. It's really you, Mr. Lin. The fire dragon stared at Lin Su in amazement, his eyes full of disbelief. How many years ago, the little snow python that he could blow to death with one breath had already caught up with him. Yes, Senior Fire Dragon. Are you okay? Lin Su had already seen that the fire dragon's cultivation was the same as after his breakthrough. He was still in the late nascent soul stage, and there was still a certain gap between him and the great consummation. He thought that he was so trembling in front of him that he didn't even dare to breathe, but now he feels there is no pressure at all. Times have changed. You're fine. Boylin, your cultivation speed is really fast. You've almost caught up with me. The fire dragon shrunk his figure to the same size as Lin Su, and exclaimed. Although Lin Su was now in the middle stage of nascent soul, which was one level lower than him, his aura was not weaker than his at all. Thinking back to Lin Su's original, the strength he showed far exceeded his cultivation level. If there was a fight, Fire Dragon didn't dare to say that he could definitely defeat Lin Su. I'm just lucky. Lin Su grinned and said, Congratulations, Senior, for turning a dragon into a dragon and reaching a higher level of cultivation. Judging from the appearance of Senior, he should be able to reach the great perfection state in 100 years. The impact of transforming into a god is just around the corner. Impacting the gods. How can it be so easy? The fire dragon smiled bitterly and said, It is impossible for the existence of the divine transformation stage to appear in the human world now, unless we can go to the spirit world, but the spirit world has long been separated from the human world, and there is no trace at all. Suddenly, the fire dragon looked at Lin Su strangely and asked, Boylin, why did you appear in the sea of monsters? The fire dragon has moved to the sea of demons since he transformed into a dragon and broke through to the late stage of pill formation. He has not heard any news from Lin Su in these years, so he naturally feels strange that Lin Su suddenly appears like this. Oh, it's nothing. I'm here to find the blood ginseng to refine the dragon transformation pill. Lin Su rolled his eyes and found a reason. This old fire dragon was not a fuel-efficient lamp. There was no deep friendship between Lin Su and him. He didn't know anything about the heavenly spirit world and the ultra-long-distance teleportation circle. I plan to let the other party know to avoid any trouble. I see. Hualong nodded and believed Lin Su's words, because he was transformed into a dragon by taking the dragon transformation pill that Lin Su gave him, but he didn't know that Lin Su was lying to him from the beginning. Refining the elixir of the dragon transformation pill, but refining the elixir of the transformation pill. Senior Fire Dragon, I still have things to do. Junior, let's just say goodbye. Lin Su didn't want to get into any more entanglements with the old fire dragon. He nodded to the other party and then swung his body around the fire dragon and flew forward. The fire dragon did not stop him. Lin Su was no longer the little snow python that he could handle at will. Seeing Lin Su's cultivation improve so quickly, the fire dragon couldn't help but feel jealous. In the end, it turned into a long sigh, and the dragon's tail swung again. Drilled into the sea. After traveling day and night, Lin Su left the demon sea after 10 days, transformed into a human again and rushed towards the nearest city. After entering the city, Lin Su ran to the branch hall of Yama Hall without stopping, teleported to Yama City through the branch's teleportation array, and issued a summons in the name of the Emperor of Yama, asking the heads of each branch hall of Yama Hall and the other 3 the Great Shura return to Yama City. The Palace Master went to the spirit world. Is this true? In just one day, the 3 major Shura including the hall masters of each branch of Yama Hall and the bald man rushed back to Yama City. In the residence of Emperor Yama, Lin Su briefly narrated the events of Emperor Yama and Yewuji entering the spiritual world. After a while. Yes, the Palace Master has indeed gone to the spirit world. I came back specially to convey the Palace Master's last order. Lin Su said, taking out the jade slip left by Emperor Yama and inserting a magic formula into it to activate it. Suddenly a green light shot out from the jade slip, and the image of Emperor Yama appeared. Disciples of Yama Hall, I have already gone to the spirit world, and I have specially entrusted the 5th Shura Lin Su to convey the decree. The position of the leader of Yama Hall will be succeeded by the 1st Shura Tian Yuan, and Lin Su will be the supreme elder of Yama Hall. You must obey the new hall. The order of the Lord and the Supreme Elder is to carry forward our Yama Temple. All disciples of my Yama temple who have reached the great consummation of the nascent soul stage can ask the new temple master for the way to the spiritual world. I am waiting for you in the spiritual world. The Emperor of Yama remained as taciturn as ever, leaving only a few words, but the information contained in them excited everyone in the Yama hall. The hall master succeeded. The hall master really went to the spirit world. Doesn't that mean we also have the opportunity to go to the spirit world? After your cultivation reaches the great consummation of the late nascent soul stage, you can learn the method to the spirit world from the new palace master. I must go back to retreat immediately. Among the 5 Shura, besides Lin Su, the bald man Tianyuan has the highest immortality. Just half a month ago, the bald man also successfully broke through the elixir and became an infant, reaching the early stage of nascent soul, so he was not convinced that the Emperor of Yama asked him to succeed him as the master of the Yama hall. Everyone didn't have much opinion, and no one had any objections to Lin Su becoming the supreme elder of Yama Palace. Not to mention that Lin Su's cultivation in the middle stage of nascent soul is unmatched by anyone in the Yama Palace. The fact that the method to the spiritual world is in Lin Su's hands makes no one dare to have the slightest objection. If this person is offended, the young master is unhappy. If he doesn't tell the new palace master the way to the spirit world, won't everyone lose even a little hope? Lindsay, why did the palace master pass the throne to me? You are the perfect candidate for the new palace master. Everyone in the Yama palace has no objections to the bald man Tianyuan taking over as the new palace master. After all, except for Lin Su, the bald man has the highest cultivation level and the strongest strength among the 5 Shura. The position of Shura is originally the backup candidate for the palace master. This is reasonable and reasonable. It's just that others think this way, but the bald man himself is not happy. Like Lin Su, the bald man has always been accustomed to being free and spontaneous, and cannot be restrained. It can be seen from the fact that he has only lived in the mansion in Yama City given to him by the Emperor of Yama. If you become the master of the palace, you will have to sit in command of Yama City when nothing happens. With the temperament of a bald man, why should he be suffocated to death? Don't refuse. It's useless for you to refuse. Only you can hold the position of Lord of the Palace. Lin Su waved his hand and said, Brother Tian, you also know that I come from the world of cultivating immortals. I can't stay in chaotic Star Sea for a long time. I find it troublesome to be an elder. How can I take over as the master of the palace? At this point, Lin Su closed his mouth and changed his voice to his spiritual consciousness. To tell you the truth, if it weren't for the purpose of returning to the world of immortality, when I found the space passage to the spiritual world this time, I would have followed the Lord of Yamalugo Hall and my father-in-law went to the spirit world together, so you don't refuse. I will definitely not be the master of this palace. Yu is my wife. She will definitely go with me and I won't argue with you. As for Suideo and Chen Tian, it is even more impossible. Who let you the one who is extremely talented and breaks through to the nascent soul stage first? Grass. The bald man couldn't help but cursed and said depressedly, if I had known better, I wouldn't have been so anxious to break through. Now, I've tied myself up. Seeing the depressed look on the bald man's face, Lin Su couldn't help but feel a little amused. The master of the Yama Hall is the supreme authority that many Yama Hall disciples dream of, but the bald man still looks reluctant. If this makes Chen Tian and Shuedeo, it would be strange if he was so angry that he vomited blood. Okay, if you really don't want to be the master of this palace, just hurry up and practice. When the heavenly spirit realm comes again in 500 years, why don't you just go to the spirit realm with me? Anyway, it's only 500 years, so stay shut up, the retreat will be over soon. While comforting Lin Su, he took out a jade slip and threw it to the bald man. This records the location of the spirit world passage in the heavenly spirit world. By the way, give me your map jade slip. Dantian has a little field. Author, The Magic Orb Zoo. Chapter 224. What do you want the jade map slip for? At this moment, only Lin Su and the bald man were left in the lobby of the city lord's mansion. Although Lin Su didn't understand why Lin Su wanted his map slip, the bald man still took it out and handed it over. Lin Su took out his jade slip of the map, copied the map of the Sea of Demons into the jade slip of the bald man's map, threw it back, and said, I found a super long-distance teleportation circle in the Sea of Demons. It is very likely that it leads to the world of immortality. After the matter here is over, I will activate the teleportation circle and return to the world of immortality. If you are no longer the master of the palace someday, come find me if you miss me. Lindsay, are you going back to the world of immortality? The bald man's eyes suddenly widened. I originally came from the world of cultivating immortals. Now that I have the strength, of course I have to go back. There was a trace of nostalgia in Lin Su's eyes, but more of it was an obsession transformed from hatred. When I was in low cultivation, I was framed by an adulterer, which caused my body to be completely destroyed, and I was separated from my wife for so many years. How can I eliminate the hatred in my heart if I don't crush those treacherous villains to ashes when I go back this time? It's a loss, it's a big loss now, the bald man suddenly shouted after hearing Lin Su's words. Where did you lose? Of course it's a loss. If I had known, Lindsay, that you were going to return to the world of immortality soon, I wouldn't have accepted the position of the Lord of the Palace. I would have gone back with you to experience it. Isn't this a loss? Said the bald man. A look of annoyance. After a pause, the bald man whispered, how about I pass on the position of the master of the palace to someone else, and then accompany you to the world of immortality? Lin Su smiled. He knew that although the bald man was somewhat curious, he was more afraid that he would suffer a loss, so he wanted to accompany him back. But how could the passing of the palace master be child's play? Brother Tian, I appreciate your kindness. Passing the throne is no joke. Who can you pass the throne to now? Suidao and Chen Tian have not yet reached the nascent soul stage, so they cannot convince the public at all, let alone once I leave. You will be the only one in the entire Yama Palace who can deal with that old ghost from Xianxia. If you leave too, Su Tian Palace will definitely take action against Yama Palace. There is only one spatial passage leading to the spirit world, and there is only one sky pillar. Before Lin Su left the sky spirit world, he asked Kulia, the great prophet of the snake people, and no one else had been to the snake people's territory, which meant that Void Sky Hexakinkan was also excluded from the Tianling realm. When word spreads that Emperor Yama and Yewuji have gone to the spirit world, the Xiushan Palace will definitely take action. Although there are other nascent soul stage masters in the Yama Palace, their combat power is definitely not comparable to that of the bald man who has already made a breakthrough. Now that I am gone, apart from the bald man, I really can't find anyone else who can compete with Xianxia. The bald man was silent. Lin Su was right. Even if he wanted to find Lin Su, he would have to wait until Suidao and Chen Tian broke through to the nascent soul stage. Only then could he give up his position as the master of the palace and leave with peace of mind. Well, Lindsay, take care of yourself. After a long moment of silence, the bald man muttered. Lin Su laughed, patted the bald man on the shoulder, and strode out the door. The matter in Yama Hall was over, and it was time to go to Spirit Beast Island next. Lin Su was in a good mood, and there was not much melancholy about parting. Immortal cultivators have a long lifespan. We parted ways today. As long as we don't die, there will always be a day when we meet again. It is said that one confidant is enough in life, but Lin Su met two. When he was in the world of immortality, there was Zhang Yunfan, and when he came to Luanzingai, he met the bald man. These two brothers were sincere to him, which made him feel quite sad. Feeling. After leaving Yanluo City, Lin Su teleported all the way to the city closest to the Spirit Beast Island. Then he set up his escape light and flew towards the Spirit Beast Island. When he was approaching the Spirit Beast Island, he picked up Ye Ping Len Lingyu and the Dragon Tiger Beast. They were released from the spirit field space and let the two women ride on the back of the Dragon and Tiger Beast. Different from when they returned to Yama Palace, everyone on Spirit Beast Island seemed to have known the news of Lin Su's arrival for a long time. They were all waiting on the outer island. As soon as they saw him and Ye Ping falling down, they all shouted in unison. "Congratulations to my uncle! Congratulations to the eldest lady and miss you back to the island. No need to be polite. Let's talk about it after we get to the island." Lin Su waved his hand and walked towards the island first. The reason why the disciples on Spirit Beast Island behaved like this was probably because the news from the Yama Palace had spread. Sure enough, when Lin Su told the story that Yewuji and Emperor Yama had gone to the spiritual world, everyone looked as if it was true, without the slightest surprise. It seems that everyone has heard about it. I won't say more about the whole story. My father-in-law entrusted me to pass the title of Island Master of Spirit Beast Island to the Deputy Island Master Ye Tianxiang. This is the message left by his old man Jade Slip. As Lin Su spoke, he took out a jade slip and inserted it into the magic formula. It showed a figure just like when he was in Yama City, but this time it was Yewuji instead of the Emperor of Yama. Yewuji's words were very similar to those of Emperor Yama. The deputy island owner Ye Tianxiang took over as the island owner. Lin Su became the supreme elder of Spirit Beast Island and asked Lin Su to pass on the location of the spiritual world passage to Ye Tianxiang. The same stipulation was that only when you reach the great perfection state of the late nascent soul can you go to the spiritual world. Uncle Tianxiang, Spirit Beast Island will be handed over to you from now on. Lin Su handed the island owner's token to Ye Tianxiang. Uncle, why did the island owner let me take over as the new island owner? Are you the best candidate? Ye Tianxiang didn't expect that the crown of island master would fall on his head. Although he was in the middle stage of nascent soul, his ability to argue was far inferior to Lin Su. He really didn't understand why Yewuji chose the distance and refused to pass on the position of island master. Lin Su. Uncle Tianxiang, I have no intention of becoming the island master at all. Soon I will go back to the world of immortality with Ping and Yu, so you can only take over the position of island master. Lin Su smiled and said that the fact that he came from the world of cultivating immortals was not a secret among the senior officials of Spirit Beast Island. Uncle, have you found the ultra-long-distance teleportation circle that leads to the world of immortality? Lin Su not only asked Emperor Yama to find the ultra-long-distance teleportation array leading to the world of immortality, but also did not forget to ask his father-in-law Yewuji for help. Ye Tianxiang happened to be in charge of this matter, so after listening to Lin Su after saying this, I was a little surprised. The disciples of Spirit Beast Island have been searching for so many years, but there is no news about the ultra-long-distance teleportation circle. How did my uncle find out about it? Well, I have some clues, but I'm not sure yet, but I have to give it a try. Lin Su nodded and said, so Uncle Tianxiang, please stop refusing. After a pause, Lin Su warned again, by the way, Uncle Tianxiang, this time my father-in-law and the master of Yamaluo Palace have gone to the spirit world. Su Kangsheng and Su Qianqian may take the opportunity to attack. If Su Tian Palace really, if you have any plans, you can contact Tian Yuan, the new master of Yama Palace. I believe that Su Tian Palace will have some scruples if Spirit Beast Island and Yama Palace join forces. Whether it is Yama Temple or Spirit Beast Island, their overall strength may not be weaker than that of Xianxia Temple, but they are inferior in terms of high-end combat power. In the past, Yewuji and Emperor Yama were always supporting them, but now Yewuji, after going to the spirit world with Emperor Yama, if Lin Su leaves again, no one will be able to check and balance Su Kangsheng. This time, in the Tianling realm, Xianxia Palace has lost its two deputy palace masters, Su Tiandi and Su Yinyang, and they have not been able to find the spiritual world passage. Who knows whether Su Kangxiang and Su Qianqian will become angry and seize the opportunity to attack, so they should take precautions in advance. Okay, that's what Lin Su said to the bald man Tianyuan. After admonishing Ye Tianxiang, Lin Su took out a Tianling token and handed it to Ye Tianxiang. He also gave a piece of this to the bald man Tianyuan. Speaking of which, this Tianling token is not as valuable as Lin Su thought when he saw it for the first time. As long as he can get a kind of energy stone called magic crystal in the Tianling world and some other things, it can be refined, but the quality of the magic crystal used to refine the Tianling token must reach the top grade. Magic crystals in the heavenly spirit world are equivalent to the status of spirit stones in the human world. However, the magic crystals contain the most spiritual energy instead of the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, which is what the cultivators call the spiritual power of the soul. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth can be transformed into true energy to enhance the power of the body and soul, while the spiritual energy of soul energy completely affects the soul. It is for this reason that there is a training system like magicians in the heavenly spirit world that specializes in cultivating the soul and spirit. With Lin Su's relationship with the various clans in the Tianling realm, it is extremely easy to obtain magic crystals. There are many high-grade magic crystals in the thank you gifts from various clans, and there are even top-grade magic crystals. Lin Su had also obtained the method of the spirit token from Yewuji a long time ago. It was very simple to refine several heavenly spirit tokens with his skill in weapon refining. It's just that this kind of thing can be held in one's own hands and is not suitable for general use, so Lin Su only gave one piece to the bald man and Ye Tianxiang. However, because of his high level of weapon refining, the effect of the refined Tianling token was it is also larger than the original one and can protect 3 people entering the celestial spirit realm at a time. Lin Su has now figured out the rules of how the heavenly spirit world descends into the human world. The entrance is not fixed. Only those holding the heavenly spirit token can sense in advance that the light gate at the entrance has a huge force of space tearing. Even monks in the nascent soul stage cannot enter safely without the protection of the heavenly spirit token. Although they have a certain amount of space tearing power when they are excluded from the heavenly spirit world, they are much smaller. As long as they have the strength of the nascent soul stage, you can easily carry it. The location he was in when he was expelled from the heavenly spirit realm was random. Lin Su also happened to be expelled into the underwater ruins of the Demon Sea. Only then did he discover the ultra-long-distance teleportation array. This was considered lucky for him. Otherwise, I am afraid that I will really have to return to the world of immortality through the desolate space. However, Lin Su is not 100% sure now that it is the ultra-long-distance teleportation circle leading to the world of immortality, so when he left the Yama Palace, he got the map with the correct route in the desolate space. Originally, this matter was the Emperor of Yama given Lin Su's current status as Supreme Elder. It was just a matter of saying something, so it didn't take much effort. It's the end of the month, please give me a monthly ticket and reward, haha. Dantian has a little field. Author, The Magic Orb Zoo. Chapter 225. Lin Su's expectation was good. Just 1 year after the new island master of Spirit Beast Island and the new master of Yamaluo Palace took over, Xianxia Palace found an excuse to launch a war on Spirit Beast Island, but was immediately attacked by Spirit Beast Island and Yamaluo Palace. The palace jointly counterattacked, but Su Qianqian was seriously injured by the bald man Tianyuan and Ye Tianxiang. Su Qianqian had no choice but to retreat, and the chaos of the stars once again restored the three-legged situation. Not to mention later, after finishing the matter of passing the throne of Yama Palace and Spirit Beast Island, Lin Su rode the dragon tiger beast towards the demonic sea. As for Ye Ping'er and Len Lingyu, they were captured as soon as they left Spirit Beast Island. He coaxed him back to the spirit field space. After all, it would be too time-consuming to take the 2 women with him. Lin Su was eager to return home and didn't want to waste a moment. Remember the domain name of this website, Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. This rapid flight was not hindered by anything. Lin Su did not transform back into the dragon body, nor did he release his own momentum. On the contrary, the dragon tiger beast did not conceal its divine beast aura and subdued all the monsters in the demon sea. No one dares to jump out and look for trouble. Half a month later, Lin Su returned to the ruins of the underwater city and stood in front of the ultra-long-distance teleportation circle again. He was rushing as fast as he could before, but when he finally arrived, Lin Su started to worry about gains and losses, and hesitated to step forward. What's the point of hesitating? It's just a mistake in my prediction. Anyway, I have a map of the desolate space in my hand. If I spend more time, I can still return to the world of immortality. After swearing and comforting himself in his heart, Lin Su took a deep breath, took out 6 top-quality spiritual stones, and carefully inserted them into the slots of the teleportation circle. Buzz. The moment the 6th top-quality spiritual stone was inserted into the slot, a red light flashed above the teleportation array, and an invisible ripple spread. The teleportation array and the dust on the entire high platform were swept away. Immediately afterwards, red light shot out from the slot and connected with other slots, forming a pattern of a 6-pointed star. Little red lights floated out from the 6-pointed star and converged into a red light curtain about a foot above. The light curtain expanded rapidly and finally formed a huge light door that was 3 feet long and 1 foot wide. Strong spatial fluctuations spread out from the red light gate, and the entire underwater ruin seemed to be hung with a hurricane. It was also Lin Su who had a high level of cultivation. Otherwise, it would have been difficult for someone else to stabilize his body. It took 2 hourglass fluctuations in time and space to calm down. The teleportation array is stable. Lin Su looked at the teleportation light gate shining with bursts of red light in front of him, and couldn't help but get a little excited. If this is really an ultra-long-distance teleportation circle leading to the world of immortality, then he can return to the world after stepping through this light gate. I have missed the world of immortality for many years. When he thought that he might reunite with Xianxia or Zhang Yunfan and others soon, Lin Su couldn't control his emotions and his body began to tremble slightly. It has been almost 100 years since my body was broken and my soul Qinglian took my soul to this chaotic sea of stars to steal the spiritual ice-snow python until now. I don't know what the situation in the world of immortality is now. Are Xianxia and Zhang Yunfan okay? Is there a winner in the battle between the demon sect and the 5 immortal sects? Lin Su was worried about gains and losses, and then it was funny. They said he was timid in his hometown, and he started to have random thoughts even before he reached the world of immortality. Taking a deep breath and putting aside the messy thoughts in his mind, Lin Su stepped into the light door. Is this a transmission channel? Stepping into the light gate, he was not transported to the world of immortality as Lin Su thought. In front of him was a 9-color passage with a diameter of about 10 feet that was constantly rotating. The walls of the passage were translucent, and the outside was in a dark void. One can vaguely see the birth and death of space storms. An exit was vaguely visible at the end of the passage directly in front of Lin Su. It seemed that if he wanted to know where the teleportation destination was, he had to fly through the passage to that exit. The ultra-long-distance teleportation array is different from the general teleportation array because the space it spans is too far, so it must pass through such a space channel. This is the first time Lin Su has used it, so he is inevitably a little surprised. However, this also shows that his guess is good. This is indeed an ultra-long-distance teleportation array. In the current human world, the only place that can use ultra-long-distance teleportation arrays is between the chaotic star sea and the immortal cultivation world. If Lin was talking about it before, if Su was just guessing, he would be at least 80% sure now. With a movement of his body, Lin Su turned into a stream of light and flew towards the exit of the passage at the other end. Because of the protection of the space channel, The outside space storm cannot enter the channel, but Lin Su can still feel the power of space that can tear everything apart. With his current strength, let alone being involved in it. Yes, even if it was scratched, it would probably turn the flesh and bones into ashes. With a hint of awe, Lin Su flew to the exit, paused for a moment, took a deep breath, and then stepped out. In a mountain range under the jurisdiction of the original alchemy sect of the immortal realm, suddenly a deep crack opened in the ground, and a burst of red light rose into the sky from the crack. When the red light dissipated, an elegant and thin figure was revealed. It was Lin Su. Rightward arrow. The endless mountains, the spiritual energy of heaven and earth that is lighter than the chaotic sea of stars, this familiar feeling proves one thing to Lin Su: this is the world of immortality, and he has returned to the world of immortality. The other end of the ultra-long-distance teleportation array was buried deep underground. It was only because of Lin Su's great strength that he was able to break through the ground and rush out. Looking at the familiar scenery in front of him, Lin Su hurriedly took out a jade slip to check it out. This was the map of the Xianxian world he had in the past. Because it was stored in the spiritual field space, it was not destroyed with the body. It's really the Xianxian world. It's really the Xianxian world. Ha 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 ha. The light spot on the map in the jade slip clearly marked the location of Lin Su, which was in the mountains 500 miles west of Danding Gate. Lin Su could no longer suppress his excitement and roared to the sky. Xianxian world, Lin Su is back. The roar shook the mountains for a long time. After the long roar, Lin Su felt refreshed. He moved and turned into a stream of light and flew towards Danding Gate. He hadn't been back for 100 years. He didn't know what the current Xianxian world was like. It was just right to go to Danding Gate to ask. Kill. Destroy these stubborn Danding sect disciples. Destroy Danding sect and show the power of our Saint Lord. The escape light of a Yuanying cultivator was so fast that Lin Su flew to the gate of Danding sect in just half a cup of tea. What surprised him was that Danding sect was in the midst of a raging war and slaughter. The protective formation of Danding sect had been breached, and even most of the entire sect had been destroyed. Only the main hall on the main peak, Danking Hall, was still trapped. The remaining disciples of Danding sect all gathered in the Danking Hall and formed a formation for defense. A light golden barrier enveloped the entire Danking Hall. Thousands of black-robed and purple-robed monks were bombarding the pale golden barrier. Countless spells, magic weapons, and talismans were smashing on the barrier, making the surface of the barrier shake like water waves. If it continued like this, it would take at most a quarter of an hour for the pale golden barrier to be broken, and the Danking Palace would also fall completely. In the air in front of the Danking Palace, a monk in a purple gold robe stood quietly. His handsome and somewhat charming face made it hard to tell his age, but his cultivation was not low. He had reached the early stage of the nascent soul, which was equivalent to the realm of the 5 great immortal sects' supreme ancestors in the world of immortal cultivation. Report to the Taoist. The Danding sect monks who escaped to report the news have all been killed. A black light flew from a distance and turned into a black-robed and purple-robed monk with the cultivation of the middle stage of the Jindan. He knelt on one knee in the air to report to the charming monk. Okay. Dan Yuanzi has been injured by me. As long as we break through the Danking Palace, we can completely destroy the Danding sect. The charming cultivator did not seem to be too excited, and looked like he had a good idea. Dan Yuanzi? Isn't that the great ancestor of the Danding sect? He was defeated by this charming cultivator? Lin Su had already used the Yan Luo absolute hidden technique to hide his figure and hid aside. He couldn't help but be secretly surprised when he heard the conversation between the charming cultivator and his men. These black-clothed and purple-robed people were ruthless, and there was a faint black air around them. Lin Su had dealt with the dark monsters of the Tianling realm, and he saw at a glance that these black air and dark demonic air were somewhat similar, but they were not as demonic. Considering that when he left, it was when the 5 major immortal sects and the demon sect went to war. It was not difficult to guess the identities of these black-clothed and purple-robed cultivators in front of him. They must be cultivators of the demon sect. It's only been 100 years, has the demon sect grown to this extent? A gloomy feeling suddenly flashed through Lin Su's heart. As one of the 5 major sects in the world of immortal cultivation, Dantian sect, although it cannot be compared with the 3 major forces in Chaos Star Sea, still has a considerable foundation. Now, in just 100 years, it has been attacked by the people of the demon sect to the front of the mountain gate. No, not only the mountain gate, but the entire sect has been destroyed except for the last hall. Seeing that the sect is about to be destroyed, is the strength of this demon sect really so terrifying? Lin Su remembered that the 5 major sects have always been of the same blood. Although there are some competitions and frictions between them, they are all small internal conflicts. Once they encounter foreign forces, they always help each other. What's more, the 5 major sects have already formed an alliance. Why did the other 4 major sects not come to rescue Dantian sect when they were about to be destroyed by the demon sect? Lin Su suddenly had the worst guess in his mind. Although he was reluctant to believe it, he was afraid that this was the truth. It was not that the other 4 sects did not want to rescue, but that they were simply unable to do so. What's more, it was still unknown how many of the other 4 sects were left. Is the Sword God sect still there? Could Xianxia and Zhang Yunfan have met with an accident? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Dantian has a little field. Author, The Magic Orb Zoo. Chapter 226. When he thought that the Sword God sect might have been destroyed, and Xianxia and Zhang Yunfan were unknown whether they were alive or dead, Lin Su suddenly felt like his heart was burning. If something really happened to the 2 of them, what was the point of him going through so much trouble to return to the world of immortal cultivation? With his heart agitated, Lin Su could no longer suppress his aura, and an extremely strong aura slowly rose from his body. Who is here? As a master in the early stage of the nascent soul, the charming cultivator was naturally more alert than his subordinates. He noticed Lin Su's aura as soon as it leaked out. He was shocked and his face changed drastically. He shouted, and at the same time, a banner made of bones flew out of his body and was held in his hand. With a wave, countless ghosts flew out of it and formed an aura wall to protect it tightly. Just at this moment, the pale golden barrier of the Dantian Hall finally collapsed and shattered like glass. Countless attacks passed through the broken barrier and bombarded the Dantian Hall. Under this round of bombardment, I am afraid that the Dantian sect monks in the hall will not survive. Destroy! A light shout sounded, and the sky-wide attacks were annihilated like bubbles, and a thin and handsome monk in a white shirt appeared above the Dantian Hall. It was Lin Su. The 5 major immortal sects have always been of the same spirit, and the relationship between Dantian sect and Xianxia sect has always been good. Since Lin Su happened to be there, he naturally couldn't watch the remaining disciples of Dantian die in the hands of the demon sect, not to mention that he had to inquire about the whereabouts of Xianxia sect, Xianxia and Zhang Yunfan. Who are you, and why do you want to oppose my holy sect? The charming monk's eyes suddenly shrank. Lin Su did not attack, but just shouted softly to disintegrate the attacks of so many monks of the demon section. He asked himself if he could do this, and he couldn't help but feel bad. Lin Su glanced at the charming monk indifferently, and did not answer. Instead, he landed in front of the Dantian Hall and stretched out his hand to gently push open the door of the hall. Demon, my Dantian sect will never surrender to you. It's just a death. I, Xianxia, will not let you go even if I become a ghost. When Lin Su opened the door of the hall, countless angry and hateful eyes shot towards him, and shouts were heard everywhere. There were less than 100 Dantian sect monks left in the Dantian Hall, all of them were injured and slumped on the ground. They had already used up their last bit of true energy to maintain the palace protection formation, and now they were backlashed by the formation being broken. They didn't even have the strength to stand up, and could only glare at Lin Su and curse him. Lin Su was stunned at first, and then he couldn't help laughing. He was suffering for others and suffered an unprovoked disaster. These surviving Danting sect monks relied on the palace protection formation to resist the attacks of the people of the demon section. They had no time to pay attention to the situation outside the hall. The palace protection formation had just been broken and he pushed the door and walked in. I guess they thought he was a member of the demon sect. Where is Senior Dan Yuanzi? Ignorance is not a crime, and Lin Su didn't have the time to argue with these disciples who didn't know the truth, so he asked in a deep voice. I am Dan Yuanzi, who are you? A white-bearded old man sitting in the innermost circle coughed lightly and stood up. It was Dan Yuanzi, the great ancestor of Danting section. He had been seriously injured in the previous battle with the charming cultivator and had been meditating and regulating his breath. Hearing Lin Su call him senior, Dan Yuanzi felt a little strange. If Lin Su was a member of the demon sect, he would never add the word senior to the address. This handsome cultivator seemed to be a friend rather than an enemy. Junior Sword God sect disciple Lin Su, passing by here to help. Senior Dan Yuanzi, rest assured, I will never let the demon sect hurt you. Lin Su arched his hands towards Dan Yuanzi. The sound was not loud, but it resounded like the sound of bells and drums in the ears of every Danting sect cultivator. Everyone looked at Lin Su in shock, and a thought flashed through their minds, is this kid crazy? Lin Su's breath has calmed down at this moment. Except for Dan Yuanzi, who is also in the nascent soul stage, no one can tell that this handsome young cultivator in front of him is also in the nascent soul stage. Lin Su of the Sword God sect? I haven't heard of him. Is there such a person in the Sword God sect? And I heard that the demon sect also sent people to attack the Sword God sect and Lingyun sect at the same time this time. How can the disciples of the Sword God sect be able to rescue their Danting sect? Only Dan Yuanzi stared at Lin Su, with doubts in his eyes. Unlike other people in the Danting sect, although Lin Su did not reveal his breath, as a nascent soul cultivator, Dan Yuanzi could still feel the terrible power contained in Lin Su's slightly thin body. Dan Yuanzi can even be sure that Lin Su must also be a nascent soul cultivator, and his strength is far above his, otherwise he would never give him such heavy pressure. Doesn't the Sword God sect have only one Xiang ancestor in the middle stage of the nascent soul? When did there become another more unfathomable Lin Su? Why have I never heard of this person's name? Dan Yuanzi was full of doubts, but since Lin Su had already stated his identity and willingness to help, he, as the grand ancestor of Danting sect, could not help but appreciate it. Moreover, now everyone in Danting sect, including him, was seriously injured and had no fighting power left. There was really no good way except to count on Lin Su, who suddenly appeared. Thank you, little friend Lin. But the demon sect is so powerful that it may be difficult to resist with your own strength. Dan Yuanzi bowed to Lin Su, his face still full of sorrow. Although Lin Su was also a Yuanying cultivator, the people from the demon sect who attacked him this time were not easy to deal with. The Dongfang Yu who injured him was a tough guy. Although they were both in the early Yuanying stage, he was basically at a disadvantage. Not to mention that the demon sect had thousands of Jindan stage masters coming with him. Unless Lin Su's strength was far superior to Dongfang Yu, otherwise, if he faced Dongfang Yu under the siege of so many demon sect masters, I'm afraid his fate would not be much better than his own, right? Is the demon sect powerful? Lin Su turned and glanced at the demon sect cultivators floating in the air, sneering, it's just a bunch of chickens and dogs, they can be destroyed with a flick of the hand. Lin Su did not lower his voice when he said this, but deliberately used the power of Dragon Yuan. Everyone present heard it clearly. The cultivators of Danting sect opened their mouths even wider and looked at Lin Su as if he was a fool. Chickens and dogs. Can be destroyed with a flick of the hand? Are you sure you are not kidding? How could a piece of shit kill the Danting sect? How could a piece of shit almost destroy the Danting sect? If the cultivators of the Danting sect just thought that Lin Su was too arrogant, the people of the demon sect were furious. They were actually called a piece of shit by a kid who came out of nowhere. It was simply too much. The demon sect has developed rapidly in recent years, and has defeated the 5 major immortal sections just now. It almost wiped out the Danting section. How could it bear such contempt and ridicule from Lin Su? At that moment, 3 Jindan stage cultivators jumped out. How dare you, where did this stinky boy come from who is so ignorant of life and death, and dare to speak wildly? I will cut you into pieces. A ghost-headed broadsword, a mace, and an arrow condensed from black air flew towards Lin Su's head, blocking Lin Su tightly from top to bottom. The 3 demon sect cultivators were all in the late Jindan stage, and they were considered to be the best in the demon sect, especially good at combined attacks. In their opinion, it was impossible for Lin Su to dodge such an attack, and he would definitely be smashed into pieces. Fix. Lin Su had a sneer of sarcasm on his face. The cooperation of these 3 people was indeed good, but such an attack was only good for Jindan stage cultivators, but it was not good enough for him, and there was no need for him to dodge. He opened his lips slightly and uttered the word fix, and immediately the ghost-headed broadsword and mace were fixed in front of Lin Su as if they were caught by an invisible big hand, and the arrows condensed by the black gas disappeared without a trace. The materials are good, but the person who refined them is too bad, so they can only reach the level of mid-grade treasures. Lin Su glanced at the ghost-headed broadsword and the mace, threw out a sentence, and waved his hand to directly put the 2 mid-grade treasures into the Kinkinbagwa furnace in the spiritual field space. For Lin Su now, such mid-grade treasures are indeed not worth looking at, but the Kinkinbagwa furnace can be used to decompose them into materials to refine other magic weapons, so they can't be wasted. My broadsword! Give me back my treasure! The magic weapon was inexplicably taken away by Lin Su as soon as it came into contact. The 2 cultivators of the demon sect were so angry that they almost vomited blood. Lin Su didn't like the mid-grade treasures, but they were the treasures they had. The 2 monks, who were overwhelmed by anger, roared and rushed towards Lin Su. Before they rushed to Lin Su, they felt that they were grabbed by an invisible force. The true energy in their bodies was instantly pressed back into the Dantian, and they could not use it at all. Before they could shout, they felt an irresistible force pressing all over their bodies, and they exploded into a blood mist with 2 bangs. Where do you want to go? Seeing that his 2 companions were dead in an instant, the demon sect monk who attacked Lin Su with them turned pale with fear. Just when he wanted to turn around and run away, he found that he could not move. At the same time, Lin Su's face with a cold smile appeared in front of him like a ghost. Master Daijun, help! Help, ah! The demon sect monk was extremely frightened and turned to Dongfangyu in the distance and screamed for help, but before he could say 2 words, a black flame emerged from his body, instantly burning him to death, not even a slag left. Hiss! Everyone gasped and looked at Lin Su with wide eyes. Lin Su also looked at his hands in surprise. Why is it so weak? Lin Su muttered softly. His opponents have always been 1 or 2 levels higher than him. After he was promoted to the nascent soul stage, he also fought against opponents in the nascent soul stage. It was the first time for him to attack a Jindan stage cultivator. It felt as easy as pinching a few ants to death, which made him feel a little uncomfortable. Where did this killing god come from? The cultivators of the demon sect felt a chill in their spines, and looked at Lin Su as if they had seen a ghost. Dantian has a little field. Author, The Magic Orb Zoo. Chapter 227. Who are you? Why do you want to mind the affairs of my holy sect? The charming monk Dongfangyu also had a gloomy face at this moment. Although Lin Su just made 2 casual attacks, the strength he showed had already set off alarm bells in his heart. Dong Fangyu thought to himself that although he could break the combined attack of his 3 men and kill them, it was impossible for him to do it as easily and casually as Lin Su. The strength of this kid who suddenly appeared was unfathomable. Holy sect! Dong Fangyu's words surprised Lin Su a little, and then he realized that this was a self-proclaimed title by the people of the demon sect to raise their status. He sneered and said, "I am from the Sword God section. It is my duty to rescue friendly sects and eliminate demons and defend the way. How can I talk about my affairs? It seems that the Yuanying period monks who hold great power like to call themselves the seat, which seems unfathomable." Lin Su tried it. Well, it is really powerful. In the future, he will call himself like this in front of outsiders. Are you from the Sword God sect? Dong Fangyu looked at Lin Su from top to bottom with a surprised look on his face. He had never heard of such a powerful person as Lin Su in the Sword God section. He seemed to be stronger than the Sword God sect's grand ancestor Zhi Yang. Could he be the old monster who had been hiding from the world in the Sword God sect? Why, is it strange that I came from the Sword God sect? Could it be that something happened to the Sword God sect? Looking at Dong Fangyu's strange expression, Lin Su's heart couldn't help but click. Could it be that something really happened to the Sword God sect? Would Zhizuir and Zhang Yunfan really be killed? A trace of blood mist slowly surged into Lin Su's eyes. His biggest obsession after returning to the world of immortal cultivation was to reunite with Zhizuir and Zhang Yunfan. Now, when he thought that the two might have met with an accident, the murderous aura in his heart was like a volcanic eruption, and he couldn't suppress it even if he wanted to. The black and red gas visible to the naked eye overflowed from Lin Su's body and spread. The temperature around him dropped suddenly, and Dong Fangyu's pupils suddenly shrank again. Evil spirit. Visible evil spirit, almost condensed into substantial evil spirit. Evil spirit is different from murderous spirit. This is another kind of power that will only be formed when the murderous spirit is concentrated to a certain degree. It is a power that can only be formed after the hands are stained with endless blood. It is said that killing one is a sin, killing 10,000 is a hero, and killing 9 million is the hero among heroes. The more people you kill, the more blood you get on your hands, and the higher the possibility of murderous spirit turning into evil spirit. Once it is really transformed successfully, your own combat power can be raised to a higher level under the effect of evil spirit, and the corresponding enemy's strength will be greatly suppressed, and even collapsed without a fight. Lin Su is in this situation now. When the evil spirit comes out, the demon sect monks in the field are trembling with fear, and they feel cold and stiff all over their bodies. Even the circulation of true essence is not smooth. The fear in their eyes when they look at Lin Su is even worse. Being able to have evil spirit, he must be a murderer. Is this thin monk really the kind of old monster who hides in the world and has stained countless lives? In fact, the number of lives in Lin Su's hands did not reach 1 million. However, as the third Shura of Yama Palace, almost all the people who died in his hands were evil and powerful. The worst was above the foundation building stage, which was much higher than ordinary civilians. In addition, the secret technique of Yama Palace to condense evil spirits made it not too difficult to form evil spirits. However, the world of cultivating immortals is not like the chaotic star sea. In terms of condensing evil spirits, it can only rely on the number of killings to naturally transform, and naturally regard Lin Su as a peerless ruthless person who has killed more than 1 million people. Such a ruthless person actually came from the Sword God sect, one of the 5 major immortal sects, which is the head of the famous and upright sections who is the devil. The demon sect cultivators were frightened and depressed, and almost vomited blood. Being called a devil by a person with evil spirits and killing people, isn't this the thief crying "Stop thief"? Where did this pervert come from? Dian 5 elements sword formation, sword chi storm. Kill them. Lin Su didn't care what the people of the demon sect thought of him. When he thought of the possibility that Zhizuir and Zhang Yunfan might encounter unexpected things, he couldn't help but be furious and murderous. With a cold voice that seemed to come from the nine nether hell, 7749 five-element spirit swords rushed out of Lin Su's body, forming the Dian five-elements sword formation. Countless sword chi emerged and quickly spread out, covering all the demon sect monks without a single one left, and strangled them madly. The sword chi storm activated by the Dian five-elements sword formation was completely different from the sword chi storm activated by the small five-elements sword formation when Lin Su dealt with the Dark Demon King's demon spirit before. More than 1,000 disciples of the demon sect had no resistance at all, and hundreds of people died in an instant. The remaining people were shocked and quickly formed a formation to resist, but they could only barely block the invasion of the sword chi. Among the people in the demon sect, the one who resisted the most easily was Dongfang Yu, who was called Daijun by the disciples of the demon section. Of course, this ease was relative. The ghosts that emerged from the white bone banner were being consumed in large quantities every moment. At this moment, Dongfang Yu's eyes were not only solemn but also frightened. As both were Yuanying stage cultivators, was the gap between them really so huge? The opponent only activated a sword formation, but killed hundreds of people and trapped the remaining disciples of the demon sect together with himself. He could only protect himself and had no spare energy to counterattack. How could Dongfang Yu not be shocked? Rightward arrow. Tell me. What did your demon sect do to the sword god sect? The people of the demon sect had completely fallen into the storm formed by the sword energy. They could not see Lin Su at all. They could only hear Lin Su's voice that was as cold as thunder resounding beside them. However, Lin Su's question made everyone in the demon sect feel quite confused. Didn't this guy claim to be from the sword god sect? How come you don't even know the current situation of the sword god sect? Is it really as speculated that he is really an old monster that has not been born for a long time, and he happens to be from the sword god sect? The monks of the demon sect wanted to answer, but the overwhelming sword energy in front of them made them unable to fight back. It was good enough that they could barely block it, but they had no time to answer. Tell me. What's going on with the sword god sect? If you don't tell me, don't blame me for being ruthless. Lin Su shouted angrily, and increased the power of the sword array, which made the demon sect monks even more shaky and ready to cry. Damn it! Don't bring such a playful person. We would like to answer, but how can we ask you to speak like this? Among the people in the demon sect, only Dao Lord Dongfang Yu has the ability to speak, but in this way, it is as if he is afraid of Lin Su. To be honest, if he is frightened by the other party and is busy, then he, Dao Lord, hasn't his face been completely lost? How can he lead the disciples of the demon sect in the future? The inarticulate expressions of the demon sect disciples and Dongfang Yu's hesitation seemed to Lin Su to be stubborn, which completely ignited Lin Su's murderous intention. Okay, okay. It seems that you won't shed tears until you see the coffin. The sword energy storm, explode. Go to hell. Lin Su shouted angrily, and the speed of the dragon essence in his body suddenly doubled. The 49 five-element spirit swords that formed the Dian five-element sword formation began to vibrate, and the five-color brilliance shone, and from the sword formation the sword energy that was generated seemed to have condensed into substance, and its lethality increased sharply. Not to mention the demon sect monks in the early stage of pill formation, even the masters in the middle and late stages of pill formation could not withstand it. Only screams could be heard everywhere, and another hundreds of people could not withstand the raging sword energy, and their defenses were broken and chopped into ashes. Sword god sect is fine. Dongfang Yu couldn't hold it anymore. Lin Su's Dian 5 elements sword formation was composed of 5 elements spiritual swords and contained the power of thunder. It happened to be the nemesis of his white bone flag. The innocent souls pouring out of the white bone flag touched each other. Understand that the sword energy will turn into blue smoke and be purified cleanly. If you delay it any longer, this low-grade spiritual treasure will be scrapped. Although Dongfang Yu is confident of escaping by then, these demon sect disciples under him will definitely be dead. Is the Sword God sect really okay? Are you serious about this? Lin Su felt happy, and the sword array attack couldn't help but slow down a bit. Little friend Lin, what Dongfang you said should be true. Dan Yuanzi walked out of the Danking Hall, coughed a few times and said, although the demon sect also sent thousands of people to attack the Sword God sect this time, the Sword God sect is stronger than our Danding sect, and there our ancestor Xiang is in charge, so there shouldn't be any problem. The demon sect's purpose is just to contain the Sword God sect so that they can't rescue our Danding section. Their real purpose is to destroy our Danding sect, and they shouldn't be able to do anything about the Sword God sect for the time being. How about Zizuer and Zhang Yunfan? Lin Su breathed a sigh of relief and asked anxiously as if he remembered something. Zizuer? Zhang Yunfan? Are you talking about the daughter of Patriarch Ziyang Yang and the close disciple of Jian Lingzi's nephew? A trace of surprise flashed across Dan Yuanzi's face. How could a senior expert like Lin Su know Zizuer and Zhang Yunfan, two juniors? After seeing Lin Su's strength, Dan Yuanzi no longer dared to underestimate Lin Su. He had already automatically ignored the fact that Lin Su called him senior when they first met. In Dan Yuanzi's view, Lin Su must be a senior expert from the Sword God sect who did not know how many years ago. He has been cultivating outside until he was born. How dare he call himself a senior? It is reasonable to call him fellow Taoist. So, fellow Taoist Dan Yuanzi knows about their situation? I hope you can tell them. Lin Su was overjoyed. Since Dan Yuanzi knew Zizuer and Zhang Yunfan and reacted very quickly, it meant that at least the two of them were safe so far. Otherwise, as a Yuanying monk who was the ancestor of a sect, who would you bother to remember those who have fallen? As for Lin Su changing the title of Dan Yuanzi to fellow Taoist, he is just going down the road. After all, his strength now far exceeds that of Dan Yuanzi. In the world of immortality, strength is respected, so he can't force himself to act as a junior. Fellow Taoist, you're welcome. This is just a minor matter. Since you asked about it, you should tell me. Dan Yuanzi smiled and said, to say that the most legendary rising star after the demon sect's resurrection is really the close disciple of Ziyang's only daughter, Len Yuferi Zizuer and Jian Lingzi's nephew Jin Yang Sword Immortal Zhang Yunfan. Dantian has a little field. Author, The Magic Orb Zoo. Chapter 228. It turns out that since Lin Su revealed that Daoji was dead, Zizuer's temperament has changed drastically. She has been cold-faced without a smile all day long. She looks like an iceberg beauty who is rejected by people thousands of miles away. And as long as she sees the Five Elements sect, the monks must have glared at each other with murderous intent, and even had their swords at war several times. As a good brother who had a lifelong friendship with Lin Su, Zhang Yunfan almost killed the Five Elements sect in a rage after learning about Lin Su's death from Zizuer, but was stopped by Jian Lingzi. He was imprisoned in the Linko Garden, and he was told that he would not be let out until the elixir formation period. In order to avenge Lin Su, Zhang Yunfan, who had always been lazy, practiced like crazy. He was a talented Tianligan monk. Before, his cultivation level kept rising when he didn't practice, let alone now. However, in more than 30 years, Zhang Yunfan successfully formed the elixir and officially became a master in the elixir formation stage. Coincidentally, Zizuer also formed the golden elixir at about the same time and entered the early stage of elixir formation. The first thing the two of them did after condensing the golden elixir was to rush to Wangtian Ferry City, uproot the Zhao family to avenge Lin Su, and beat 3 to death and 7 of the Five Elements sect disciples who came to rescue after hearing the news. Although the Five Elements sect angry, but because Lin Su's incident was a fault of the Five Elements sect, and because Zizuer and Zhang Yunfan had deep backgrounds, they could only pinch their noses and admit defeat, but the enmity between Zizuer and the Five Elements sect was thus forged. Later, In the process of fighting against the demon sect, Zizuer and Zhang Yunfan quickly rose to prominence with their outstanding combat prowess, and gained the upper hand in several conflicts with the disciples of the Five Elements sect, and obtained the Len Yu Fairy and Jin Yang with the nickname Sword Immortal. Both of them have now reached the late stage of pill formation and have become one of the top masters under the ancestor Xiang of the Sword God sect. I didn't expect Zuier and Yunfan to be so outstanding. It seems like I was worried for nothing. After hearing what Dan Yuanzi said, Lin Su breathed a sigh of relief. Now it seemed that Zizhou and Zhang Yunfan not only did not encounter any accidents, but were doing well. Lin Su was relieved and very happy for the two of them. Lin, I have already answered your question, why don't you stop now? When Lin Su was talking to Dan Yuanzi, he did not stop attacking the demon sect monks, but only slowed down the attack. Therefore, the demon sect monks were still being killed one by the sword array. Seeing more than 1,000 with less than 200 people left, Dongfang Yu couldn't help but scream angrily. That's ridiculous. When did I promise to let you go? Lin Su smiled coldly and looked at Dongfang Yu like an idiot. Asshole, you dare to play tricks on me. Dongfang Yu was extremely angry. He is the leader of the 4 Dao Lords of the demon section. Apart from the cold and ruthless demon lord, he is respected among the demon sect. Even the supreme lords of the 5 great immortal sections, the ancestor, did not dare to look down upon him. When had he ever received such an insult? I didn't mean to play tricks on you. I just wanted to kill you. A strong murderous intention flashed in Lin Su's eyes. If the war between the demon sect and the 5 major sects had not started, he would not have been forced to leave the Sword God sect, and Chen Tao would have taken advantage of the opportunity to set up a killing plan. Chen Tao was naturally the culprit, but Lin Su didn't have a good impression of the demon sect either. These demon sect disciples had countless blood stained in their hands by the disciples of the 5 great immortal sections. Lin Su would not have the slightest psychological burden to kill them. My surname is Lin. I admit that you are powerful, but it's not that easy for you to kill me. It's indeed not easy to kill you, but it's not difficult either. I just need to trap you and grind you to death slowly. You can't run away anyway. Lin Su disdainfully said that now Dongfang Jade can only rely on the white bone flags to block the attack of the sword formation, but it is unable to escape. As long as the wronged souls in the white bone flags are exhausted, this spiritual treasure will naturally be useless, and it is afraid of being destroyed by then. Can't you get Oriental Jade? You surnamed Lin, you are ruthless. I am not your opponent, but you can't kill me even for a moment. I am not afraid to tell you the truth. Lord Shenjun personally takes action against the Sword God sect this time. Although that old guy Xiang is powerful, but you are definitely no match for Lord Shenjun. If you are late, just wait for the people of the Sword God sect to collect the body. Dongfang Yu laughed wildly, and Dan Yuanzi's face changed when he heard this. The demon lord took action himself. Something bad is happening. Fellow Daoist Lin, hurry up and rush to the Sword God section. If you are late, it may be too late. The demon lord Leng Weivue is an old monster in the late infant stage. Fellow Taoist Xiang is probably no match for him. What? Damn it! Lin Su's expression changed drastically. If this was true, the Sword God sect might be in danger now. Zizhou and Zhang Yunfan. Dian 5 elements sword formation, annihilation. The true energy all over his body was rioting. Lin Su now had no patience to spend any more time with Dongfang Yu, so he directly used the strongest trick of the Dian 5 elements sword formation. All the endless sword energy was released, and the person who was enveloped by the sword formation was all the demon sect monks except Dongfang Yu were annihilated inch by this move, and their body and soul were destroyed. Dongfang Yu's bone flag burst into several pieces with a cry, and Dongfang Yu also spurted out a mouthful of reverse blood, and the whole person did not dare to do anything. It didn't stop at all and turned into a purple light and fled towards the distance. After sheathing the 5 elements spiritual sword, Lin Su did not chase Dongfang Yu. Instead, he set up his escape light and flew towards the Sword God sect without even having time to say goodbye to Dan Yuanzi. Dan Yuanzi said that the Demon King is a master in the late Yuanying stage, while the ancestor Xiang is only in the middle stage of Yuanying. The gap is too obvious. If ancestor Xiang is defeated or even dies, what will happen to the Sword God sect? I'm afraid it's even more miserable than the previous alchemy sect. Rightward arrow. There were no intact eggs under the overturned nest, and Lin Su seemed to see before his eyes the scene of Zi Zhou'er and Zhang Yunfan being brutally murdered by the demon sect monks. No. Never. We must catch up, we must catch up. Lin Su's eyes were bloodshot, and his speed had reached the extreme. He finally returned to the world of immortality in order to reunite with Zi Zhou'er and Zhang Yunfan. If he was late. Lin Su no longer dared to think about it anymore, but even though he had increased his speed to the extreme, the Alchemy Cauldron sect and the Sword God sect were hundreds of thousands of miles apart, so how could they reach them in a matter of seconds? Senior Bear King, lend me your power. I want the power to teleport. It may be too late to fly alone. By the time Lin Su flies to the Sword God sect, the dust may have settled long ago. In desperation, a bright light suddenly flashed in Lin Su's heart, and he called out to the Tyrant Bear King crazily in his heart. The only way now is using the power of the Tyrant Bear King to teleport. You might be able to catch up? Boy Lin, what happened to make you so anxious? The Tyrant Bear King heard Lin Su's cry and responded quickly. Lin Su's tone was full of unprecedented anxiety and fear. This was the first time that the Tyrant Bear King felt such emotions in Lin Su. No time to explain. Senior Bear King, lend me your power, and I will teleport on my way to save people. Teleport? No. Your current physical strength cannot bear the burden of teleportation. Forced teleportation may cause physical collapse. I can't control that much. Do you want to borrow it or not? The Tyrant Bear King was shocked to hear this. Is this kid crazy? He didn't even care about his life. Your current physical body really can't bear it? Unless you become a dragon, maybe it's possible. Before the Tyrant Bear King finished speaking, Lin Su had directly transformed back into the dragon's true form and shouted, "Is it okay now? Hurry, lend me your power. This. If you don't want to borrow it, I will squeeze you out of the spiritual field space right now." Lin Su has now completely controlled the spirit field space. It may take some effort to put the Tyrant Bear King in, but to squeeze it out is just a matter of thought. The Tyrant Bear King can tell that Lin Su is not joking. If he refuses, Lin Suhen will squeeze him out. Crazy, this kid is really crazy. Muttering dissatisfied in his heart, the Tyrant Bear King still passed on his power and part of his understanding of the laws of space to Lin Su. A huge and unparalleled power surged out from the spirit field space, instantly filling the meridians of Lin Su's body. Lin Su suddenly felt a strong sense of familiarity with the surrounding space, but at the same time, severe pain surged from every inch. It burst out from the flesh and blood. Teleport. Holding back the excruciating pain, Lin Su activated teleport, and his figure suddenly disappeared. The next moment, he appeared thousands of miles away. Immediately, a mouthful of blood spurted out, and the dragon scales all over his body exploded. Blood and flesh splattered everywhere. Lin Su is not the Tyrant Bear King. Being able to teleport thousands of miles is already his limit, and as the Tyrant Bear King said, his body simply cannot bear it. The Immortal Lotus Heart Technique. Quickly activating the Immortal Lotus Heart Technique to recover from his injuries, Lin Su launched teleport again without any pause. This time, he was thousands of miles away. There were dozens of wounds all over his body, and blood flowed like a profuse stream. Boy Lin, you are desperate, you dare to teleport so frequently, the Tyrant Bear King was shocked. Lin Su was only in the middle stage of nascent soul. Using his own power to force teleport would be quite taxing on his body. It was so huge that even with the physical strength of his dragon body, it was difficult to withstand it, let alone if it was launched continuously. Teleport. Come again, teleport. Teleporting again and again, Lin Su's skin exploded and he turned into a blood dragon. If he hadn't relied on the Immortal Lotus Heart Seal to activate the Immortal Lotus Heart Art to continuously recover from his injuries, I'm afraid he would have been lying down long ago. It's almost there. It's almost there. Zuier, Yunfan, you must hold on. You must wait for me. After teleporting one after another, Lin Su was getting closer and closer to the Sword God sect, and finally he was less than 10,000 miles away. However, Lin Su had reached his limit. If he teleported again, even if he had the Immortal Lotus Heart Seal, he would be able to do so. The recovery ability cannot escape the result of physical body collapse. Realizing this, the Tyrant Bear King hurriedly took back his power. Boy Lin, you can't teleport anymore, otherwise if your body collapses, you won't be able to save anyone even if you arrive in time. Lin Su also knew that what the Tyrant Bear King said made sense. He was there to save people, not to die. He stopped insisting at the moment and continued to run the Immortal Lotus Heart Art to recover from his injuries while urging Long Yuan to rush on. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Dantian has a little field. Author, The Magic Orb Zoo. Chapter 229. Just as Lin Su was rushing to the Sword God sect with all his might, the Sword God sect thousands of miles away was already in a critical moment of survival. Ever since the demon sect resurfaced 100 years ago and started a war with the 5 major immortal sects, the two sides have been evenly matched in these years. The 5 major immortal sects are not as strong as the demon sect alone, but their combined strength should not be underestimated. In a word, both sides have won and lost and no one has gained any advantage. If the situation continues like this, there will be no scene where the demon sect besieged the Danding sect and almost wiped out the Danding sect from top to bottom, including the Grand Ancestor Dan Yuanzi. The strength of the two sides was pulled apart only because of one person, the leader of the demon sect, the demon lord Len Wuking, who called himself Saint Lord. Originally, Len Wuking and Xianxia Patriarch were both in the middle stage of the nascent soul. The two sides had fought several times over the past few decades, but they were evenly matched. Who would have thought that 10 years ago, Len Wuking suddenly went into seclusion, and the power of the demon sect also shrank for a time, but 10 years later, as Len Wuking broke through the seclusion, it suddenly exploded. The reason is very simple: Len Wuking broke through, and was promoted from the middle stage of the nascent soul to the late stage of the nascent soul. Don't underestimate this level of improvement in cultivation, the strength is definitely a world of difference. The original evenly matched situation was suddenly broken. Not only was Xianxia Patriarch not an opponent, even the 5 great immortal sects' supreme ancestors could not do anything to the demon lord Len Wuking. In several battles, the 5 great immortal sects were all defeated, and the battle line continued to shrink after the loss of soldiers and generals. In the end, they were all pressed back to their respective sects by the demon sect, and it was impossible to achieve the goal of one side in trouble and the 4 sides to support. Among the 5 major sects, Danding sect was the weakest and Xianxia sect was the strongest. Dan Yuanzi was not surprised that the demon sect wanted to destroy Danding sect, but he did not expect that the demon sect had such a big appetite. While besieging Danding sect, they also wanted to destroy Xianxia sect at the same time, and it was the demon lord Len Wuking who took action personally. As for the other 3 major sects, they only sent some miscellaneous soldiers to besiege them symbolically, so that they could not come to rescue. Demon lord Len Wuking did not show up at first, but the second Jun Nangong of the demon sect led the team to attack Xianxia sect, and deliberately showed weakness to the enemy to attract the elites of Xianxia sect outside the sect. After a day of fierce fighting, the two sides were in a stalemate. Demon Lord Len Wuking suddenly showed up and injured Xiang Patriarch with a few moves, causing Xianxia sect to lose a lot. They hurriedly retreated to Xianxia sect and launched a full-scale defense formation to resist. Unlike the Dantian sect, the Sword God sect's protective formation is mainly based on killing, and it is activated by the Xiang Patriarch, so it is extremely powerful. Even if the Demon Lord Len Wuking has a monstrous demonic power, he cannot break it for a while. Seeing that the stalemate has lasted for 3 days, Len Wuking has completely lost his patience and does not intend to waste time with the Xiang Patriarch. In front of the gate of the Sword God sect, on a huge golden warship, the Demon Lord Len Wuking stood on the bow with his hands behind his back, looking coldly at the Sword God sect disciples in the protective barrier, and his eyes were more focused on the Xiang Patriarch, who was floating between the 5 sword peaks and holding a translucent spirit sword to activate the protective formation. Bring the people up. With Len Wuking's indifferent order, more than a dozen Sword God sect cultivators were taken to the bow. These were the Sword God sect cultivators who were captured in the previous fierce battle. At this moment, their cultivation was sealed and they were unable to resist. They could only glare at the people of the demon sect one by one. Zai Yang, I advise you not to resist any longer. As long as the Sword God sect is willing to surrender to my holy sect, I promise to forgive the past. Otherwise, when I break through your Sword God sect, I will kill everyone in your sect. Len Wuking's voice echoed between the clouds and the sky, and the murderous intent contained in it made people shudder. No one doubted his determination. If he really broke through the Sword God sect, he would definitely be able to massacre the sect. Len Wuking, don't dream. Even if my Sword God sect fights to the last man, it will never surrender to a demon like you. Use whatever tricks you have. Ancestor Zai Yang continued to activate the sect protection formation, but just looked at Len Wuking coldly, unmoved. Humph. You are stubborn. If that's the case, don't blame me for being ruthless. Bring them up. A cold light flashed in Len Wuking's eyes. With his cold shout, more than a dozen captured Sword God sect monks were brought to Len Wuking's side. Among them was Zai Zuir, the only beloved daughter of Zai Yang Patriarch and Lin Su's beloved wife, Fairy Cold Jade. Zai Zuir still liked to wear a purple dress as she did in the past, but now the dress was stained with a little blood. This was stained in the previous battle, some from the demon sect monks, and some from Zai Zuir herself. Because her cultivation was sealed and she couldn't use her power to heal her wounds, Zai Zuir's face was quite pale at the moment. She didn't curse like other disciples of the Sword God sect, but just looked at Zai Yang Patriarch in the barrier quietly. The expression on her face was surprisingly calm, and she even felt a little relieved. When Zai Yang Patriarch saw that his daughter Zai Zuir was also among the captured disciples, his face suddenly changed drastically. Looking at his daughter's indifferent and relieved expression, he couldn't help but sighed with sorrow. No one knows a daughter better than her father. How could Zai Yang Patriarch not know what Zai Zuir was thinking? Since Lin Su's death, Zai Zuir has become a different person. She is no longer innocent and naive. She has become an iceberg beauty. Her face is always cold and indifferent. In the past 100 years, Zai Yang Patriarch has never seen Zai Zuir smile. Ancestor Xiang even felt that if it weren't for the thought of avenging Lin Su in his heart, and the distraction of fighting with the demon sect over the years, Zai Zuir would even have the idea of committing suicide and going to hell with Lin Su. Let's take it as an example now. With Zai Zuir's ability, unless Demon Lord Len Wuking takes action himself, other members of the demon sect will never be able to stop her, but she was captured anyway. What does this mean? This shows that Zai Zuir has already had the will to die, so she refused to retreat and was captured after exhausting her strength. It is also because of this that she behaves so indifferently now, not caring about life and death. However, Zizuer was determined to die, so how could Patriarch Xiang be willing to let his only daughter die? It is extremely difficult for a person who cultivates immortals to refine their essence to transform qi and qi into spirit. It is extremely difficult for them to give birth to a bloodline. What's more, Zizuer's immortal appearance is so outstanding that he is his father. How can Patriarch Xiang give up on her? But given the current situation, is it necessary for him to ruin the thousands-year-old sword god sect's foundation just for the life of his beloved daughter? Xiang, open your eyes and take a good look. These are the elites of your sword god sect. I ask you for the last time, will you surrender? If you don't surrender, I will let them die in front of you one by one. Leng Weavu stretched out his hand, and the one at the front among the captured monks of Sword God sect flew up out of thin air as if being caught by a pair of invisible big hands. He flew to the front of Sword God sect's sect protecting barrier, and saw Leng Weavu's palm gently. As soon as he grasped it, the disciple of the Sword God sect instantly expanded and exploded into a blood mist that filled the sky. Leng Weavu, you old bastard! You actually used such despicable methods to intimidate me. You are simply claiming to be the devil. The eyes of everyone in the Sword God sect were about to burst, and Patriarch Xiang was even more furious. His disciples were beaten to ashes in front of his eyes, and their souls were destroyed. If he hadn't known that he was no match for Leng Weavu, he would have really wanted to rush forward. Go up and fight it to the death. The winner is a prince, the loser is a bandit. Xiang, you are also the ancestor of a sect, how can you be so naive? Leng Weavu sneered, from now on, I will kill someone every time I burn an incense stick. I want to see how long you can endure it. Following Leng Qing's order, the disciples of the demon sect set up an altar in mid-air in front of the Sword God sect's sect protecting barrier, and escorted 12 Sword God sect disciples, including Zizuer, onto the altar. The incense burner was lit. After a stick of incense passed by, Leng Qingguo struck out and beat a disciple of the Sword God sect to pieces. After another stick of incense, another disciple died. As time goes by, disciples of the Sword God sect died one after another on the altar, with no bones left. The eyes of the ancestor Xiang have become blood red, almost wanting to spit fire. If eyes can kill, the devil is cold and ruthless. He has died countless times. Leng Weavu, I swear to God that I will crush you to ashes in my lifetime. Another disciple of the Sword God sect exploded into blood mist on the altar, and now only Zizuer was left. The disciples of the Sword God sect were all blinded, and the ancestor of Xiang looked up to the sky and roared with incomprehensible grief and anger. Crush me to ashes? Okay. I'm right here, old man, come out. I want to see how you crush me to ashes. Leng Weavu laughed loudly, and the laughter was full of ridicule. Old man Xiang, now only your precious daughter is left. Tisk tisk, such a beautiful woman with outstanding immortal talents, I really feel pity for her. Wouldn't it be a pity to die like this? My little beauty, how about you persuade your stubborn father to surrender now, and I will spare your life. Idiot's dream. Zizuer glanced at Demon Lord Leng Weavu coldly, without any change in the expression on her face. She turned to look at Patriarch Xiang and said softly, Dad, my daughter is unfilial, and I'm afraid she won't be able to serve you until she gets old. But this is okay. Okay, I can go and reunite with Xiaolinzi. He must be very impatient after waiting for me for so many years. Idiot. Why are you doing this? Ancestor Xiang Weiren let out a long sigh, gritted his teeth and looked at Demon Lord Leng Weavu and said, Leng Qingguo, if you really dare to hurt my daughter, I will sacrifice my cultivation to die with you. Perish together? I'm afraid you're not qualified yet. Leng Qingguo sneered, and a black energy surged out of his palm, forming countless dense black arrows and aiming at Zizuer on the altar. Old man Xiang, don't blame me for not giving you a chance. all of this is you asked for it. I will let your daughter suffer the punishment of thousands of arrows piercing the heart, so that everyone in the world will see the consequences of opposing my demon sect. Dantian has a little field. Author, The Magic Orb Zoo. Chapter 230. Len Wuking, do you dare? Zi Yang Patriarch roared. Do you think I dare? Go. Len Wuking waved his hand, and countless black arrows shot towards Zi Zuir, who was about to be pierced through the heart by the arrows. Stop it! A thunderous roar came from the horizon, and the next moment a huge figure appeared in front of Zi Zuir. It was a silver-white dragon with a body of 100 feet, which protected Zi Zuir with its body. Countless black arrows hit the dragon, making a sound of metal clashing, but they couldn't even break a dragon scale. Nascent Soul Stage Dragon. No, it seemed to be teleportation just now. Demon Lord Len Wuking was horrified. The aura of this suddenly appearing silver-white dragon was in the middle stage of the nascent soul. When did such a powerful dragon appear in the world of immortal cultivation? The Chaos Star Sea is different from the immortal cultivation world. In the Chaos Star Sea, the monsters and human cultivators are equally powerful, and even more powerful. They occupy a vast sea area. Human cultivators can only build cities on islands to fight against monsters. There is also a sea area in the Demon Sea that even Yuanying stage cultivators rarely set foot on. In the immortal cultivation world, human cultivators occupy the absolute mainstream. Monsters can only hide in famous mountains and rivers, try to hide their bodies and practice quietly, so as not to be discovered by human cultivators and hunted, because in the eyes of human cultivators, monsters are full of treasures, and are completely living treasure houses. In the immortal cultivation world, let alone monsters in the middle stage of Yuanying, even monsters in the late stage of Jindan are extremely rare, let alone dragons like Xiaolong. In the case of equal cultivation, monsters are generally much more powerful than human cultivators, not to mention that the dragon clan is the royal family among monsters, and Xiaolong in the middle stage of Yuanying is definitely not weaker than human cultivators in the late stage of Yuanying. Because of this, Demon Lord Len Wuking was shocked when he saw the silver-white dragon that suddenly appeared. What puzzled him even more was why a dragon in the middle stage of the nascent soul appeared to protect Zi Zuir. Although Zi Zuir was known as the Cold Jade Fairy, her charm should not be so great that even the monsters could be fascinated, right? What's more, the way the silver-white dragon appeared looked like teleportation. But isn't teleportation only available to those at the level of the fusion stage and above? Although the dragon clan is the royal family among the monsters, it is impossible to teleport in the nascent soul stage, right? The silver-white dragon was Lin Su, who flew all the way to the sword god sect at lightning speed. In order to increase the speed to the limit, Lin Su kept the dragon's body form. Finally, he arrived at the critical moment and saw that Demon Lord Len Wuking was about to kill Zi Zuir. In a desperate situation, Lin Su shouted loudly and used the power of Tyrant Bear King to teleport again, blocking all the black arrows. Fortunately, Lin Su had the immortal Lotus Heart Seal and amazing recovery ability. During the journey, he recovered most of the injuries caused by continuous teleportation. Otherwise, he would not be able to bear the huge burden of teleportation again. Why does this fellow demon dragon care about the affairs of my demon sect? After a brief shock, Demon Lord Len Wuking quickly calmed down. Although he didn't know when a powerful dragon like Lin Su appeared in the world of cultivation, demon beasts have always been at a disadvantage in the world of cultivation. Even if a dragon in the middle stage of the nascent soul occasionally appeared, it would not change anything. Lin Su ignored the cold and ruthless question from the Demon Lord, and didn't even look at him. Instead, he looked at Zi Zuir, who was protected in his arms, nervously and asked in a trembling voice, "Zuir, are you okay?" "You are." Zi Zuir had already closed her eyes, resigned to her fate, but the imagined severe pain did not come. She opened her eyes in surprise, but found that she was actually protected in the arms of a 100-foot dragon, and she couldn't help but be a little stunned. Then, Lin Su's address made Xianxia feel like being struck by lightning. She widened her eyes in disbelief. The familiar tone, the familiar address, and the familiar warmth in the huge dragon's eyes, all of which overlapped with the figure that haunted her dreams. Xianxia's body suddenly trembled violently, and she uttered a trembling sound like a dream, little Linzi. Boom. Countless clouds suddenly emerged from Lin Su's dragon body, covering his figure. After a while, the clouds dispersed, and two figures appeared. One of them was naturally Xianxia. At this moment, she was held in the arms of another person, and the one holding him was a monk in a white shirt, with a slightly thin figure. It was Lin Su who had transformed into a human form. Lin Su had created the cloud on purpose, in order to cover his figure so that he would have enough time to put on his robe. At this moment, he was gazing at Xianxia in his arms with deep affection, his eyes full of tenderness. "It's me, I'm Xiao Linzi. Zuir, I'm back. Xiao Linzi. It's really Xiao Linzi. You're back. Woohoo." Xianxia looked at Lin Su infatuatedly as if he had been cast into a spell of immobilization. After a long while, he trembled and reached out his hand to touch Lin Su's face. A bright light suddenly flashed in his eyes, and he hugged Lin Su tightly and cried, "Woohoo! It's Lin Su. How is it possible? Didn't this kid die by self-destructing his foundation?" Inside the protective barrier of the Sword God sect, the old ancestor Ziyang widened his eyes as if he had seen a ghost, looking at the once familiar figure in the field in disbelief, and plucked his beard fiercely. Lin Su had clearly self-destructed his foundation back then, how could he suddenly appear alive now? Damn it! Zuier, don't cry. I'm back now, right? Don't cry, be good, or it won't look good. Seeing Zuier's expression of pear blossoms and rain, Lin Su panicked for a moment. He had thought about the scene of meeting Zuier countless times, and also thought that Zuier might be so excited that she shed tears, but when he really faced it, he thought about it. Even though the beauty was crying, she was still at a loss and could only continue to comfort her. After a long time, Ziyi stopped crying, held Lin Su's face again and gently stroked it, murmuring, "Xiao Linzi, am I not dreaming? Are you really not dead? Are you back? Of course I'm not dead. I'm alive and well. But, I clearly saw you blowing yourself up. It's a long story. I guess I survived the catastrophe. I'll explain it to you later." Lin Su said, holding Ziyi and flying towards the Sword God sect's protective barrier. Demon Lord Len Wuking looked at the scene in astonishment, feeling confused for a moment. What is going on? How come the silver-white dragon turned into a human monk, and seems to have such an ambiguous relationship with the Leng Jade Fairy Ziyi? What's going on? Leng Qingguo didn't connect the transformation of monsters with Lin Su at all. Although it is true that monsters with advanced cultivation can transform into human forms, that is just the transformation of their bodies into human forms. In essence, they are still monsters, nothing else. The demonic aura all over his body can never be concealed. The more powerful the monster, the stronger the demonic aura, but Lin Su can't feel the slightest demonic aura at all. What the hell is going on? Where did the silver-white dragon go? Could it be this weird monk's deception? Ancestor, put away the protective barrier. Lin Su held Ziyi and flew outside the Sword God sect's protective barrier, shouting to the ancestor Xiang inside the barrier. Huh? Oh. Okay. Ancestor Xiang came to his senses and put away the barrier without hesitation. Although it was hard to believe, he was already sure that the person in front of him was indeed Lin Su. A person's appearance may be disguised, but the aura of the soul cannot be faked. Although Lin Su is already at the middle stage of nascent soul, Patriarch Xiang is very familiar with his aura of soul. After all, the other party used to be him. The person you consider to be your son-in-law. It's just that Lin Su had clearly self-destruct his Taoist foundation back then. Logically speaking, it was definitely the result of physical and spiritual destruction. How could he survive? Moreover, the opponent's cultivation has actually reached the middle stage of nascent soul, which is no worse than his own. What happened to this kid? After Ancestor Xiang lifted the protective barrier, Lin Su flew to Ancestor Xiang with Zizuer in his arms. With a wave of his hand, he took out a flying boat from the spirit field space and gently placed Zizuer on it. Into the flying boat. The seal on Zizuer has been broken by Lin Su. After Lin Su took out a bottle of healing elixir and fed it to Zizuer, he looked at the ancestor of Ziyang and said, "Ancestor, Zuier will be taken care of by you for the time being. I will explain to you slowly after I send these guys away." "Suer, don't be careless. That's Demon Lord Leng Qingguo from the demon section. His cultivation has reached the late nascent soul stage. You are no match for him. Let me and you join forces to deal with him." Although Patriarch Xiang didn't know what Lin Su had gone through to be able to save his life, and his cultivation had advanced by leaps and bounds to the middle stage of nascent soul, in his opinion, Lin Su's words about sending away Demon Lord Leng Wuking and other demon sect monks were really too arrogant. Leng Qingguo is a master in the late stage of nascent soul. Although there is only one level of cultivation difference between the mid-stage pill formation and the late-stage pill formation, the difference in strength is huge. No need. I can handle it all by myself. Master of the late nascent soul? Are you very powerful? Lin Su smiled coldly and shook his head. He was just a newly promoted late-stage nascent soul monk. He was far behind a late-stage nascent soul Dzogchen master like Su Kangsheng. He doesn't even pay attention to Su Kangsheng, let alone the Demon Lord Leng Wuking, who is only in the late nascent soul stage. As soon as Lin Su said this, Patriarch Xiang couldn't help but be stunned. This guy has such a loud tone. If the masters in the late nascent soul stage are not great, then what kind of masters are great? But listening to Lin Su's tone, it seemed that he didn't take a late nascent soul monk like Demon Lord Leng Wuking into his eyes at all. Where did he get his confidence? Ancestor Xiang had never seen Lin Su take action. Although he could see Lin Su's cultivation, he could not see Lin Su's true combat power. However, he did not insist anymore. Since Lin Su was so confident, I believe he must have, I'm quite sure, so I'll just stay aside and take a closer look at where this kid's confidence comes from.